Would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a mule? Now a mule is an animal with long funny ears. He kicks up at anything he hears. His back is brawny and his brain... Greetings, peeps, and welcome to Jazz History Online, MUS 118. I am your host, Dr. Tim Hendrickson. You can call me Dr. H. Everybody does. I'm going to be with you for the next several weeks as we go through this course together. I'm a pretty laid-back guy, you'll find. I'm easily approachable. The only thing I insist is you do address me as Dr. Hendrickson or Dr. H. Old school to me, I know, but hey, that's how I roll. I also request that you do communicate with me, so more about that later. Let's get right down to it and talk a little bit about the course itself. This essentially is a music history course, a music history survey, if you will, and we're going to be learning about jazz. We're going to be learning about the history of jazz. We're going to be learning about the origins of jazz, early jazz to later jazz, and we're going to be learning about the influences other music had on jazz. We're going to be talking about influential composers. You're going to hear names like John Coltrane, for example, Dizzy Gillespie. All of these are components, things that you're going to learn about and hear about and experience in this course. We're going to be learning about various historical periods as they relate to jazz, and also some movements that went on that relate to jazz music. Let's talk a little bit about attendance and grading. This is an online course, so there is no physical meeting or virtual meeting time. So you're on your own, okay? It's up to you to log on, look at the material, look at what's expected of you, when it starts, when it ends, and all of that. That's on you. So attendance is taken through your participation, through your completion of assignments, through your communication with me, for example, through email, and also through our discussion topics, things like that. When you complete assignments, that tells me you're engaged and you are essentially attending. With respect to grading is very simple. Do the work, you make an A. Pretty simple stuff, right? It's actually pretty hard to fail my course. You really have to work at it to fail one of my courses. So just do the work and you're going to make an A. Related to that, I grade on effort and participation every bit as much as I do good test scores, good exam scores. So please do the work, be involved, be engaged in the course, and you're going to make an A. Having said that, because this is an all online course and you don't have a professor that you see physically week to week, there's really no accountability other than what you set for yourself. So my advice from the get-go is and always will be, use your time wisely. It is so easy to fall behind in an online course because you sort of, out of sight, out of mind. Log on at least 2 to 3 times a week, if not more. Always be engaged. See what's there, see what's coming up. And, like I said, use your time wisely. Don't let everything go until the last minute. Okay, so our course is structured a little bit more unusual than perhaps the face-to-face courses. We have, in this situation, 2 sides to the story. We have an e-learning side and we have an online textbook side. Now, on our e-learning side, we have announcements, we have the course syllabus, we have discussion topics, we have our online textbook link, and we have the course section descriptions. All of this you'll find on our e-learning site, as well as, like I said, the announcements. If things change, you'll hear a description on this in just a bit. And then we have our online textbook site. On the online textbook site, we have assignments and readings. Both reading and written assignments are there. We have quizzes, and we have our exams, and you can probably see your current grade quicker on our online text than you can anywhere else. But if you're ever in doubt or you're questioning, how am I doing, email me. I'll be happy to discuss that with you. Just be mindful of the time and be mindful of things like the detailed course calendar. And, again, if you have not already done so, you got to purchase that online textbook. You cannot successfully pass the course without it. So you got to have that textbook access code in order to complete all of the assignments. Okay, so now let's take a brief look at our e-learning site and our online textbook site. Okay, let's have a look at our e-learning site. And when you initially log into e-learning, obviously you're going to come to the e-learning home page. And that's going to list all of the courses that you are currently enrolled in. If you're only enrolled in one course, my course, for example, that's all you're going to see. And you click on that and you'll be brought to this page, our courses homepage. If you've never worked with Brightspace or D2L before, this might seem a little bit confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's laid out pretty straightforwardly. For example, you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, the home button. If you press on that, you're going to be brought back to the e-learning homepage, which lists all the course you're enrolled in. Our course homepage, if you click on that tab, that's going to refresh this page and bring us right back to where we were. And on this page, this is where all the welcome and announcements and so forth are going to go, and any types of updates to our course, if there are changes or assignment updates, things like that, we're going to have announcements right here. And you probably have already noticed that I copy all of these to you through email so that you have two ways of getting this information. You can also see there are links embedded into these announcements sometimes, and you can click on these. For example, you could click on this link and it would bring you to our course syllabus, the detailed course schedule, and of course introductions, which is our first discussion topic. Okay, while I am talking about our homepage, let me also mention to those of you who may be using tablets or your phones and to complete your online work, don't forget to scroll all the way down on each of these pages, because there's a lot of information that you may miss that's found below where you're looking. It's more than just what's on the surface up here. There's a lot more down here. Now, while we're on that topic, let's look at this thing down here in the lower right hand corner, which they say is a calendar, and it is. But notice that these dates are simply the dates when these sections come due. This is not the detailed course calendar that you're going to take a look at right now. So let's take a look at what's on the Contents tab. If we click on that, we can see here we're brought to whatever module we happen to be in the last time. I happen to be in the detailed course calendar, but let's go up to the course syllabus. Obviously here you can see all of the stuff that's within the course syllabus. If you have not read it, I encourage you to do so, but do so at your leisure. It's nothing earth-shattering. It just gives you info about the course. You also see a link to our online text, and then we'll talk more about that later, and then of course to the detailed course calendar. So we'll click on that. Here is our detailed course calendar, and let's just kind of take a look at how this is laid out. Each of our sections is divided into classes, okay? And that's on the left-hand column here. And then in the center column, you see a description of what's going on. And then you see two columns on the right, one in green and one in red. The one in green is the start date of each of these sections, and the one in red is the finish date of each of these sections. So essentially what this means is Class 1 and Class 2, right? begins on August 25th and ends on September 14th. That means you have from August 25th through through September 14th to complete these first 2 classes. And then there's a quiz. There's usually a quiz every 2 to 3 classes. You have until September 14th to complete that quiz. And then you have the next section. And that section begins on September 8th and is due September 22nd, as its quiz is due September 22nd. You'll see some other things in blue. These are the discussion topics. Those will appear, and you'll get notifications as to when these are to start and when they are to end. But you also have reminders of that here on our detailed course calendar. And then you can see in red there are 4 written assignments. 4. And these are due usually at the end of 2 or 3 groups of sections. So at the end of section 3, the written assignment is due by September 28th, the same as when this section closes. So you can look ahead at any of these, but just understand that this detailed course calendar shows you when things are due. Now here it's called a detailed course schedule, but it's a calendar, so don't get confused in the nomenclature. Okay, and then you see these modules, Section 1, Fundamentals, Section 2, Essential Features of Jazz, Section 3, and so on, all the way down until the end of the section. Also on the detailed course calendar, you can see when the midterm exam is and when the final exam is. Now, these modules on the left, if we just click on one of them, for example, the modules are just simply telling us what is in the detailed course calendar. It is not, on our online text. These are not the assignments themselves. This is simply a description of what is in the online text, okay? That's all these are. These are not the assignments themselves, okay? In order to get to the assignments, you have to go to our online text. And I promise we're going to get there in just a second. But understand that's where all of these things are. These modules are just simply telling you what is in the online text. Anytime you want to see what you're up against, what you're going to be doing, go to that detailed course schedule or detailed course calendar. That is going to tell you when things are, what things are, and when they are due. Okay, so let's take a look at our online text. Let's go to the online textbook link. And we just simply click on that on Music Jazz History, and we're brought immediately to our online textbook. Now we'll just take a look at how this is laid out. First of all, if you happen to be using any other textbooks from Connect for Education and you click on this dashboard link, it's going to bring you to whatever textbooks you have. And you don't need to worry about that in our class, but just understand that if you happen to click on that link, it might take you a little bit of finagling to get back to this page. This is the link that you want, this one with all the letters and numbers. If you want to get back to this particular page, which is kind of like a contents of what we have. Now, we have sections and classes, right? That's how our textbook is divided. And you have a Getting Started module that gives you an introduction. You are welcome to read through all of this. It tells you how the course is laid out, what's in the course. It also gives you some samples of music that we're going to be listening to. So I encourage you, play around with this, explore it. Again, at any time, if you want to get back to that main page, just click on this second grouping of links, and it brings you right back. You also have a description, an introduction to each section that tells you about what's in that section. And it gives you a little video to watch. That video is going to probably be reading everything that you see right here. You also notice that there are these orange buttons left, right, up. Sometimes you will also see a down depending upon how far you scroll down or how far the information goes down. If you click on the back button, obviously that's going to take you back to where you were before. If you keep clicking on the back button, it's going to bring you all the way back to the very start of your text. Again, if you want to get back to that, just simply click on that second grouping of letters and numbers in that second link. So the first class, Music Basics, notice how it has the keyboard, the octave, diatonic and chromatic scales, and staves and clefs. This is basically giving you a music fundamentals sort of look at music. Notice how you have some interactive tools here. You have something called a Show Me button. If you click on this, it says here adjacent keys, half steps. Keys that are right next to each other on the keyboard are adjacent. The difference in pitch between adjacent keys is the smallest pitch difference between two sounds in most Western music systems. That pitch difference is called a half step or a semitone. And if you click on this Show Me button here, it not only highlights the two keys, but it also plays them for you so you can hear what they sound like. And you also have a little bit of a keyboard here that you can play around with. So you can play with that to your heart's content, but this is showing you where all the half steps are. So if you click on that green Show Me icon, it'll turn green when you hover over it. Okay, so, and then you also have some other tools. Whenever you see the speaker icon, that is a sound bite for you to listen to. This is just telling you what a half step that is going up sounds like, and one that is going down or descending sounds like, and a whole step, what it sounds like going up, ascending, and what it sounds like going down. Now I'm going to interject here something so that people can understand exactly what I'm talking about. There is a phenomenon that some people go through that they do not have the ability to distinguish between pitch frequencies, highs and lows. And if that happens to be you, don't worry. That doesn't mean you're going to fail the course or that you're not going to be able to complete the course. It is not essential that you are able to differentiate between pitches in order to pass this particular class. So I just throw that out there because there may be some of you who are listening to these examples and saying, wait a minute, I don't hear a difference. And if that's you, don't panic, don't worry, don't be embarrassed. It is a phenomenon. It is quite common. There are people who cannot hear the difference between high and low pitches or pitch frequencies. So just throwing that out there for those that might be a little bit concerned that you may not be able to hear these pitch differences. And then when you get beyond the second class, which is also Music Basics, notice how it's talking about pitch and rhythm and meter and so forth. These are all things to help you better understand exactly what we're talking about when we begin our discussion of various types of jazz and blues. If we go to this first section where we have what is jazz, the essential features of jazz, if you click on that, this gives you a good little read, and it's talking about a couple of things. Notice how you can click over these highlighted words and phrases, and it gives you a little description of each of those. And then again, if we want to navigate, we can navigate to the next page. Everything gets a little bit bigger, a little bit more broadly described, and then it gives you, again, some more examples. For example, there's something called swing eighth notes and something called straight eighth notes. Now we're just going to briefly take a look at this. So let's press this little play button here. Sounds like a little kid playing on the piano and going crazy. Now, it's giving you this idea of that there's a difference between swinging eighth notes and straight eighth notes, and there is. This is giving you an example of what straight eighths sound like, and here is an example of something called syncopation. And you'll notice that these eighth notes don't look any different in their musical appearance, like what they would appear in the sheet music, but they sound different. So that's what they're talking about. Nothing to be alarmed at. Again, this is something that is just a descriptor. It's not something that you need to really be able to master in order to master the course. Although, if you can, that'd be great. If you are really interested in learning more about meter and note values and things like that, then I recommend you take our Music Elements course, because we get into that in detail. Scrolling further on through our text, you can see that we have various classes that deal with the various components of jazz: blues, and jazz origins, and jazz oranges, and early jazz to the emergence of swing, and so forth. So you can take a look through all of these at your leisure, but notice that all of these are also going to have due dates and quizzes and writing assignments and so forth. So I just wanted to introduce you to the text and wanted you to have some experience with it. And for those of you who have not yet purchased the text, this is what it's going to look like, and you are going to need it. You cannot pass the course successfully without it. Hopefully this has given you a good overview of what to expect, and if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. Okay, so I hope you found that look at our e-learning site and our online text to be helpful and informative. I realize this is a very quick look at things, but you will be getting into it more in depth as we go along. We will be getting into it more in depth as we go along. As always, if you have questions, feel free to email me. If it becomes necessary, we can certainly set up a one-on-one face-to-face meeting in my office on campus at Delta, or we can also set up a Zoom meeting if that's more convenient for you. All I ask is that you email me ahead of time so that we know, when to get this done. Also, just please give it some time. This is a brand new semester. We're only 1 week in, so give it some time. There's always some glitches in the beginning, but they will be worked out. Everything's going to work out just fine. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So I look forward to getting to work with each of you, even if it's only in cyberspace. And I look forward to reading your comments, your discussion topics, and of course, any assignments that we get to do together. So take care, folks, and we'll see you soon.
Love makes me treat you the way that I do. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? There's nothing too good for a girl that's so true. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you? I bought you a fur coat for Christmas, a diamond ring, a Cadillac car, and everything. Love makes me treat you the way that I do. Gee, baby, ain't I good to you?